All right. I've kicked off a little bit early because I'm being impatient because I have other books waiting at the library for me now, and I want to just be able to drop off the Fervor at the same time. Um, so I was like, you know what? I'm the boss here. I make the rules. I will just make this a little bit earlier. So, and that's probably why I do not succeed. So, anyways, The Fervor, excellent book. If I was going to star this on a scale from, say, 1 to 10, I would easily give this like a 9.5, if not a 10. I really love this. Some of the points that I really enjoyed, I tend to like a heavy supernatural story. That's what I gravitate towards. The supernatural elements in here are light, but they are worked into the plot so well. They're almost like not supernatural. Initially, I was going to say there's no supernatural elements, but they're just really wound into the plot culturally through the Japanese point of view. So, um, so yeah, light on the supernatural. One of the things that I love about this book, it's kind of like almost like activism with fiction. There has been, it's no secret, there has been a lot of appy or Asian hate right now. And thanks to COVID and people politically blaming Asians for COVID, which is ridiculous. That's like a blaming, I don't know, I'm not even going to go there because I'll probably get myself in trouble. But yeah, so there's been a lot of Asian hate lately. So Alma Katsu wrote this book, and I believe I read that it is the first time that she's used her heritage, her culture, um, in one of her stories. And I would say, excellent job. I hope she continues this. But it's one thing I liked about it is even though it was from an Asian point of view, a lot primarily, and it kind of investigates the internment camps that happened at Pearl Harbor, um, which, by the way, if you don't know what an internment camp is, I believe my grandmother told me she was in one at one time, and that's why she lost her name, Eureka, which is her name and my name, because the somebody couldn't say it, like they couldn't say Eureka, so they just called her Mary. But I have no proof of that one way or the other. That's just a memory I have as a child that she told me that. But Alma Katsu kind of gets into the internment camps and what happened, and it was after World War II. No, after Pearl Harbor, um, American people felt like they couldn't trust the Japanese, who were American as well, and so they locked them up in internment camps, which were basically just prison camps. They took their possessions. They didn't give them health care. They starved them. There were a lot of issues with the internment camps. And basically, a country took off a segment of its people. America took off a segment of its people based on race and locked them up. But this is one of those things in history that I think the Asians are a little too polite to talk about, and everybody just tries to go on with it. So you don't really read about it a lot. So really good job on Alma Katsu for bringing that out, like the not only that there were internment camps and why and what it felt like to be in one possibly, um, but yeah, it's a big, huge part of our history in America that just kind of gets glossed right over. We read about a lot of the other injustices, but internment camps is usually not on that list. And a couple of times when I've mentioned internment camps to people, they are super surprised to even know about this thing. So, but one of the things I like is Alma Katsu has cultural divisions in here, of course, and racism. That's an essential part of the plot. Internment camps, you can't take racism out of internment camps. But one of the points in here that I really liked was there's no like white people are evil, Asian people are good. There's blends and there's even redemption for some characters who started out one way and then they change, they learn, they grow, which is just perfect. I mean, that's what stories are about, right? If the character at the end of the story is the same, it's a boring story. Like we have to have change. So well done on that. Like I really enjoyed that. The other thing I think was interesting that she really plays upon is that there's good and bad in everybody. There's no like the church people are good or the church people are bad or the Asians, which is kind of going along with the cultural thing. But I really do. She had some really surprising stuff in there. Like the whole book is very fresh, and I never knew where it was going to go, the storyline. But there was a few characters that I was just like, there is no hope for that person. I will never like them. Oh, well, okay. I changed my mind. I take that back. She also had a lot of, even though at that time there was not a lot of like women's rights, women's empowerment, women were still kind of struggling to get on an even playing field. Um, that comes into it with a few characters that they're taking that back, and like in the character of Miko, um, how she's contrasting the way we're supposed to be and the way she wants to be and the way she's been brought up versus what is working. So I thought that was really cool too. And an ultimate, I'm glancing down at my notes here. Um, the ultimate theme of this book, I find, or that came to me, this was my take on it, was that the outliers find their strength is in what makes them an outlier. So the very things that make somebody different are what winds up being their strength. All the conflicts and all the desperate, the guilt, the human experiment of imperfection. I mean, experience of imperfection, racism, small-mindedness. All of that plays out in this book, and whoop, just kind of getting all sloppy there. And yeah, really, really good read. I very much enjoyed it. I have like a little fangirl kind of cool thing to mention at the end. Um, Alma Katsu read Black Cranes. I have to get all my books straight in my head. Read Black Cranes, which is the anthology that Genevieve Flynn and Lee Murray put together that won all those, just a ton of awards like Bram Stoker and Shirley Jackson, a whole bunch of other stuff. And I had two stories in that collection. And in one of my stories, Vanilla Rice, I have two characters. Well, no, I have one character named Miko. God, I don't know why I keep saying Miko. I think I'm thinking Katsu. Uh, I have a character named Miko, and of course, my middle name is Yuriko. So, first chapter, I got such a fangirl moment. This is not saying these are common names, so to say like, oh my gosh, Alma Katsu used my names is like saying, somebody, I have Bob and Sue in my story, and then Neil Gaiman had a Bob and Sue in his story. They're common names, so it's not like a huge deal. But I thought it was super cool because first story starts out with a Miko and a Yuriko. So like when I saw my name in it, well, it's not my name, but you can see it right there, Yuriko and Miko. I was fangirling a little bit, and like I said, they're common names. It's in the subconscious or whatever, but I was pretty like, oh my goodness, that's so exciting. So yeah, super small fangirl moment. But yes, I love this book. This is actually the first book I've read by Alma Katsu. I'm gonna go pick up The Hunger here pretty soon and read some of the other ones because she's got The Hunger and she's got The Fervor and The Deep. And I know there's at least another one. I know she has quite a few books out. So, but yeah, this is my first introduction to Alma Katsu, and I am really a huge fan now. This is a really good book, and I especially love the themes of Asian, Appy and prejudice, and a whole nother perspective that I've never read before. I've actually never read a fictional account of the internment camps. It's barely see nonfiction accounts of it. So I'm really, really, really happy that Alma brought that up and shared it in such a digestible and realistic way. Felt like, I mean, I've never been there, never want to go there, but I felt like I could really understand it in a very realistic way. So go grab The Fervor, read it, review it, share it with a friend. Excellent book. I mean, if I was going to star it, yeah, 9.5 to 10. Really loved this book. I mean, it gets like 2 or 3 points just because of the topic. A sensitive and uncommon topic treated in a very respectful and enlightening way. So, and that is it from me. From here, I'm going to take this back to the library so somebody else can read it and go grab 2 more books that I have waiting for me. So I will see you guys tomorrow night. Thank you so much. Oh, look at that. I can put the Fervor up there so you can see the cover. Even though I've been holding the book up this whole time, I think. But yeah, see you tomorrow. And I don't know what we'll be talking about, but it'll be something. I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.